national minimum wage and base pay for 2026, ahead of this budget, reflecting our shared vision of fairness, stability, and productivity. Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget marks a decisive shift from recovery to transformation, from resilience to productivity, and from stability to jobs. Mr. Speaker, over the next year and beyond, government will focus on 3 priorities to reset for growth, jobs, and transformation. Speaker, the first will be consolidating the macroeconomic stability. The second will be accelerating economic transformation and job creation. And finally, strengthening security and social sector for inclusive growth. Right Honorable Speaker, our vision is clear. A Ghana that produces more than it consumes. A Ghana that exports value-added goods, not just raw materials. A Ghana where jobs are decent, incomes are rising, and opportunities shared by all. And, Mr. Speaker, a Ghana where every citizen lives with dignity and pride. Mr. Speaker, that is the Ghana we are building. A Ghana powered by discipline, driven by vision, and anchored on shared prosperity. Right Honorable Speaker, having outlined the guiding theme and vision for this budget, I now turn to the state of the Ghanaian economy as at October 2025. Mr. Speaker, and to show where we stand, what we have achieved, and where we are heading. After that, I'll present the policies, priorities, and resource allocation that will drive Ghana's growth, jobs, and economic transformation in 2026 and beyond. Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of the year, we inherited a painful effect of the fiscal slippages of 2024. Pressures that weighed heavily on households and businesses and public finances. Mr. Speaker, confidence was fragile. Inflation remained elevated. The exchange rate was unstable, and the public debt was elevated. Yet, through visionary leadership, fiscal discipline, and policy consistency, the tide has finally turned. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy has now recovered, marked by renewed investor confidence and an improved macroeconomic outlook. Mr. Speaker, I'll now give you real sector performance. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy has regained its rhythm. Real GDP expanded by 6.3% in the first half of 2025, up from 5.1% in the same period of 2024. Driven by stronger agriculture and service, lower inflation, and renewed business confidence. Non-oil GDP grew by 7.8%, showing that our growth is now powered by domestic production. Mr. Speaker, the service sector remains the heartbeat of recovery, surging 8.8% with ICT up 17.2%, finance and insurance up 9.5%, and education up 14.9%. Agriculture, the backbone of stability, also grew by 6%, doubling that of last year. Mr. Speaker, cocoa rebound from a sharp 21.4%, contracting to 2.8% growth. Mr. Speaker, thanks to the targeted farm support, and smarter policies. Industry held steady despite reduced oil output. Manufacturing rose 6.3% and construction 4.0%, reflecting reliable energy and revived infrastructure projects. On the demand side, Right Honorable Speaker, household consumption grew by 8.2%, reflecting stronger household confidence. Government spending also slowed to 3.7%, proving fiscal discipline. The Speaker, export grew 11.5%, led by gold, cocoa, and non-traditional export. This is the growth that creates jobs, lifts incomes, and builds lasting stability. The Speaker, I now take you to price development. Right Honorable Speaker, inflation has fallen faster than anyone imagined, from 23.8% in December 2024 to 8% by October 2025. Ghana is back to a single-digit inflation. This was not by sheer luck, It is the outcome of disciplined fiscal policy, steady monetary management, stable exchange rates, and strong domestic production. Together, these have restored confidence, stabilized the cedi, and eased the pressure on families and businesses. Food inflation reduced from 27.8% to 9.5%. Prices of everyday food such as tomatoes, garden eggs, okra, and fish are finally falling. Mr. Speaker, non-food inflation also dropped from 20.3% to 6.9%, supported by steady fuel prices and lower import costs. Right, Honorable Speaker, this progress proves that sound policies brings real relief. Sound policies brings real relief. So, Speaker, both imported and local price pressures are now contained. Right, Honorable Speaker, the task ahead is to sustain this stability by keeping fiscal discipline, boosting food security, and ensuring strong coordination between the fiscal and monetary authorities. The Speaker, I now take you to fiscal performance. The Speaker, 2025 marked one of Ghana's strongest fiscal turnaround in decades. The primary balance on commitment basis swung from a 3% deficit in 2024 to a 1.6% surplus by September 2025, exceeding the target and proving that discipline delivers results. Mr. Speaker, reforms in revenue mobilization and spending controls anchored this recovery. The removal of nuisance e-levy did not weaken revenue. Broader tax reforms and efficient gains lifted non-oil tax revenue to 8.7% of GDP, up from 7.8% in 2024. On expenditure, government tightened non-priority spending whilst protecting key investment in the sectors. Mr. Speaker, Treasury bill rates have fallen, saving 8.8% in interest from January to September. Mr. Speaker, 8.8 billion from January to September. Mr. Speaker, public debt dropped to its lowest in a decade, and Ghana's debt risk has been reclassified from high to moderate. These gains have created space for social and capital investment, eased external debt pressures, and restored investor confidence. Right, Honorable Speaker, Ghana's fiscal consolidation is now credible, sustainable, and homegrown, a model of responsibility that turns stability into progress and ensures every city works for the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, I take you to social protection. Right, Honorable Speaker, even as we pursue fiscal consolidation, government protected and expanded social spending to cushion vulnerable households. Allocations to social protection programs increased to 0.9% of GDP, up from 0.6% in 2024. Mr. Speaker, these targeted interventions reflect our conviction that economic stability must translate into social progress. Mr. Speaker, I will now give you an update on power purchase agreement, renegotiations, and other reforms in the energy sector. Right, Honorable Speaker, when this administration took office, Ghana's energy sector was saddled with about $1.4 billion United States dollars in debt to independent power producers, a ticking fiscal bomb, I call it. Mr. Speaker, today, that burden has been lessened. We have renegotiated all power purchase agreements, led by Ghanaian experts at no cost to the state, saving over 250 million US dollars and restructuring 1.1 billion Ghana cedis over a four-year period. Mr. Speaker, government is now fully current on payment, clearing 300 million United States dollars in 2025 year to date, and allocating 345 million United States dollars for 2026. Mr. Speaker, for the first time, we are not accruing new arrests in energy sector. Solar tariffs, projects like BXC and Mineji have dropped from 18 to 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour, cutting costs and expanding access. Mr. Speaker, this was achieved as part of the renegotiation. Mr. Speaker, the Electricity Company of Ghana revenues has risen almost 90% from 900 million to 1.7 billion Ghana cedis per month, thanks to better enforcement of the cash waterfall mechanism. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, ECG's revenue has improved by almost 90% per month, from 900 Ghana cedis per month to 1.7 billion Ghana cedis per calendar month. Mr. Speaker, I'll now give you an update on the audit of arrears and payables. Mr. Speaker, upon assuming office, government was confronted with outstanding arrears and payables totaling 68.8 billion Ghana cedis, comprising 50.5 billion in unpaid invoices and interim payment certificate (IPCs) and 18.3 billion in outstanding bank transfer advices (BTs). Mr. Speaker, in fulfillment of our pledge to protect the public purse and ensure value for money, we commissioned the Auditor General, working directly with PwC and EY, to conduct an independent validation of these arrests and commitment. Mr. Speaker, as I informed this August House during the media review of the 2025 budget, this special audit covered all verified arrests and commitment as at end December 2024. The objective was to establish the legitimacy of the claims, identify irregularities, and address the fiscal risk arising from the accumulation of these arrests and outstanding commitment. Mr. Speaker, the exercise has now been completed, and the Auditor General is finalizing his report for submission to Parliament. But, Mr. Speaker, the findings are troubling and very damning. Very damning. Mr. Speaker, out of the 68.8 billion, Mr. Speaker, I'll give headline numbers whilst we wait for the Auditor General to submit the report next week. Mr. Speaker, out of the 68.8 billion payable submitted for audit, 47.8 billion cedis was validated. Mr. Speaker, an additional 8.6 billion Ghana cedis remains under review, pending further validation due to inadequate documentation, missing third-party confirmation, and lack of supporting document. Mr. Speaker, these yet to be validated claims may be legitimate, but further evidence will be required before they can be recognized. But, Right Honorable Speaker, about 10.4 billion Ghana cedis in claims were rejected. The Speaker, due to duplications, recycled IPCs, inflated invoices, falsified stores receipts advice, and instances of no work but demanding money. Right Honorable Speaker, out of the rejected amount, about 1 billion Ghana cedis, comprising BTAs, bank transfer advices, that had already been processed by the Ministry of Finance and were ready for payment by the Controlling Accountant General and Bank of Ghana, were rejected. The Speaker, without this audit, these claims would have been paid, underscoring the importance of vigilance and verification. Mr. Speaker, about 2 billion Ghana cedis was also reclassified from claims to BTAs. Right Honorable Speaker, the report is ready and it will be submitted and the detail may be discussed by this House. Mr. Speaker, this audit has not only saved the nation billions in potential losses, but also restored accountability, strengthened expenditure controls, and reaffirmed this government's unwavering commitment to fiscal discipline and transparency. The Speaker, we have identified an abuse in the use of import declaration forms, IDFs. The Speaker, I'll give you the update. Right Honorable Speaker, our investigation into Ghana's import system exposed a staggering abuse of import declaration forms, a tool meant to support legitimate trade, but now hijacked for illicit transfers and tax evasion. Mr. Speaker, between April 2020 and August 2025, over 525,000 transactions amounting to an equivalent of 83 billion US dollars were processed through ICOPS. Mr. Speaker, surprisingly, this amount of $83 billion were transferred from Ghana in the name of imports. But surprisingly, Mr. Speaker, only 10,440 of these transactions were linked to actual imports. Mr. Speaker, an equivalent of 31 billion US dollars in transactions were transferred abroad with no goods imported into the country. Mr. Speaker, this leaks bleeds our reserves, weakens the Ghana cedi, and deprive the economy of resources that should have been used to build schools, roads, and hospitals. Mr. Speaker, the audit also reveals that some importers underdeclared values to hide about 76 billion cedis in imports, denying Ghana about 11 billion Ghana cedis in potential revenue between 2020 to 2025 August. Mr. Speaker, other importers inflated transfer values, aided by some banks that ignored the 200,000 US dollar ceiling set by the central bank. Over 17,700 IDF applications broke this limit, channeling an equivalent of about 20 billion United States dollars in unverified transactions out of Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, this was not a loophole. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, this was not a loophole. It was an organized system for exploitation. In fact, an organized crime. Mr. Speaker, persons and institutions behind these activities are being referred to the Attorney General, Economic and Organized Crime Office, the FIC, and CID for investigation. Mr. Speaker, also, the Ghana Revenue Authority will establish a special recovery unit to reclaim all this lost revenue between this period. Right Honorable Speaker, government has since acted decisively. An interagency committee will now audit all imported related transfers going forward. The Bank of Ghana will also match every forest transfer with verified import data. The Speaker, we are drawing a hard line. Every dollar leaving Ghana must deliver real value for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's public debt is firmly on downward path. Mr. Speaker, by October 2025, total debt had fallen from 726.7 billion Ghana cedis, or 61.8% of GDP in 2024, to 630.2 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent of 45% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, marking one of the sharpest decline in our history. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in over a decade, we have recorded a negative rate of debt accumulation from a positive 19.1% in 2024 to a negative 13.3% in 2025. Mr. Speaker, this turnaround reflects fiscal discipline, prudent borrowing, and stronger cedi, showing that Ghana's reforms are being measured, Mr. Speaker, and they are showing results. At home, domestic debt market has rebounded. Treasury bill have dropped by 1,600 basis points, with the 91-day Treasury bill at 10.7 from 28.9, the lowest in 14 years. Mr. Speaker, government has paid 20.3 billion Ghana cedis in bond coupons, restoring trust and market liquidity. Mr. Speaker, Eurobond prices are up by 17%, yield down by 300 basis points, and investor confidence is back. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has entered a new era of debt sustainability, anchored on discipline, transparency, and fiscal sovereignty. Mr. Speaker, I'll give an update on sovereign credit ratings. Right Honorable Speaker, all three major international rating agencies have upgraded Ghana's, affirming new faith in our macroeconomic management. In June 2025, Fitch lifted Ghana from restricted default to B-. Again, Moody's in October upgraded Ghana to CAA1. And Mr. Speaker, in November, a couple of weeks ago, S&P also upgraded Ghana to B-/B. The Speaker, together, these upgrades marks a global vote of confidence. Ghana is once again credible, stable, and open for business. Mr. Speaker, I take you to monetary and financial performance, financial sector performance. Right Honorable Speaker, monetary policy in 2025 stayed tight but effective, thanks to prudent management by the central bank and the governor. The Speaker, the Bank of Ghana cut broad money growth to 16.6% and base money to 4.5%, sterilizing 55 billion Ghana cedis to stabilize the cedi and lock in the lowest inflation in 4 years. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana's external sector remained strong in 2025. The current account surplus rose to 3.2% of GDP from 2%, driven by robust gold and cocoa export, higher remittance, and strict import management. Mr. Speaker, a $2.1 billion United States dollar trade surplus and growth in non-traditional exports showed a more diversified economy. The Ghana cedi appreciated against the US dollar from 16.35 Ghana cedi to the US dollar in November 2024 to 10 cedi 92 pesos as at 10th November 2025. The Speaker, this represents a rare appreciation of 35%, reflecting sound fiscal and monetary policy management. Right Honorable Speaker, this stability lowered debt costs and eased inflation. Gold and cocoa powered the recovery. Gold earnings rose 68% to 11.2 billion United States dollars. Speaker, cocoa rose 170% to 2.47 billion United States dollars, whilst oil dipped to 1.83 billion. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana's rising export firms reserves, and a stable cedi confirms one thing, that Ghana's recovery is real, disciplined, and indeed lasting. So, Speaker, take you to sectorial performance. Right Honorable Speaker, the story of Ghana's economic recovery in 2025 is best told through the work of our ministries, departments, and agencies. Across every sector, from agriculture and industry to governance, infrastructure and human development, performance in 2025 reflects disciplined execution and innovation. The Speaker, our task now is to sustain this momentum. We will boost productivity in agriculture and industry, accelerate infrastructure delivery, and strengthen governance and skills development. Sector ministers will present their outlook in detail, but the message is clear. Ghana is rebounding with purpose and rising with promise. Mr. Speaker, the 2026 medium-term policy objectives and targets is what I'm now going to present. Right Honorable Speaker, as we enter 2026, our mission is clear: to turn the hard-won stability of 2025 into shared prosperity. Speaker, the sacrifices made by Ghanaians over the past year have restored hope and confidence in our economy. Inflation is down, the city is stronger, and growth has regained momentum. Mr. Speaker, our fiscal strategy will match discipline with compassion. Our key fiscal policy priorities for 2026 are as follows. First will be to maintain fiscal discipline by sustaining a primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP on commitment basis. Speaker, the second is to mobilize domestic resources through continuous implementation of our medium-term revenue strategy. Speaker, will promote value for money and rationalize spending, ensuring that every city delivers value for citizens whilst eliminating leakages and inefficiency. And finally, Mr. Speaker, protect priority in education, health, and social protection to shield the poor and sustain human capital development. Mr. Speaker, in 2026, Our monetary and exchange rate strategy will safeguard stability and drive growth, keep inflation low, the city strong, and confidence high. And that will be our monetary and exchange rate strategy. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana will stay data-driven and cautious, holding inflation within the targeted band of 8 plus or minus 2 and easing only when safe. Mr. Speaker, the central bank is doing a good job. Right, Honorable Speaker, to advance our medium-term macroeconomic goal of stability, resilience, and shared prosperity, government has set bold but achievable macroeconomic target for 2026 fiscal year and the medium term. Mr. Speaker, over the medium term, from 2026 to 2028, real GDP is set to rise steadily, averaging about 4.9% at the minimum. Non-oil GDP is programmed to grow around 5% at the minimum. Mr. Speaker, inflation will stay within 8 plus or minus 2% targeted band, reflecting a firm grip on price stability. Mr. Speaker, the fiscal balance will remain strong, with the primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP from 2026 onwards. And right, Honorable Speaker, gross international reserves are expected to provide at least 3 months of import cover over the medium term. Right, Honorable Speaker, for the year 2026, we will achieve the following at the minimum. Real GDP growth of at least 4.8%, driven by continued expansion in infrastructure and service sectors, agriculture as well. Non-oil GDP, Mr. Speaker, at least 4.9%. End-year inflation for next year will be at least 8% plus or minus 2. Mr. Speaker, primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP on commitment basis in line with our fiscal responsibility framework to sustain discipline and debt sustainability. Gross international reserves of not less than 3 months of import cover, covering a strong external sector and a strong defense for the Ghana city. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's fiscal strategy over the medium term is to lock in stability and turn it into lasting growth. From 2026, government will sustain a primary surplus of at least 1.5% of GDP on commitment basis each year, anchoring fiscal discipline and debt sustainability. Mr. Speaker, revenue and grant are projected to rise from 16.4% of GDP in 2025 to 16.9% in 2026, reaching 17% by 2029, driven by stronger tax administration. Right, Honorable Speaker, our focus is on expanding the tax net, not overburden existing taxpayers. Mr. Speaker, expenditure growth will remain disciplined, rising modestly from 15% of GDP in 2025 to 15.4% in 2026. As a result, the fiscal deficit will narrow sharply from 2.8% of GDP in 2025 to 2% in 2026 and 2.1% by 2029. Mr. Speaker, in 2026, government will target a primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP, consistent with our fiscal anchor. The overall fiscal deficit on commitment basis is projected at 2.2% of GDP. On cash basis, the overall fiscal deficit is projected at 4% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, this fiscal stance balances consolidation with growth, maintaining discipline while safeguarding resources for productive investment under the Big Push Infrastructure Program and other national priorities. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to revenue mobilization for 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, in 2026, government expects to collect total revenue and grant of 268.1 billion Ghana cedis, up from 226.7 billion in 2025, a strong 18.3% increase. Non-oil tax revenue, the backbone of domestic mobilization, is projected at 216.1 billion Ghana cedis, growing on the back of improved compliance and enforcement. Oil and gas receipts are expected to contribute 13.6 billion Ghana cedis, supported by steady global prices. The Speaker, non-tax revenue is projected at 20.9 billion, with 18.2 billion retained by ministries, departments, and agencies to sustain. Mr. Speaker, additional inflows from Senate transfers and energy sector levies are estimated at 14.4 billion Ghana cedis, whilst development partners grants will add 3.1 billion to fund key projects. Mr. Speaker, total expenditure on commitment basis for 2026 is projected at 302.6.5 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to 18.9% of GDP, up from 251.7 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. Primary expenditure stands at 244.7 billion, or 15.3% of GDP, reflecting targeted spending that drives growth and delivers value. Compensation of employees is projected at 90.3 billion Ghana cedis, ensuring fair remuneration for public servants. Mr. Speaker, 13.2 billion have been allocated for goods and services to improve efficiency across MDAs. Right, Honorable Speaker, capital expenditure will rise sharply to 57.5 billion Ghana cedis, or 3.6% of GDP, led by the Big Push Infrastructure Program, which alone will absorb 30 billion Ghana cedis for road development. Mr. Speaker, interest payments are projected to decline to 57.7 billion thanks to prudent liability management. Mr. Speaker, grants to statutory funds, energy payment, and other essential transfers totals 63.6 billion Ghana cedis, whilst ESLA and IPP commitments are estimated at 19.7 billion Ghana cedis. Overall, the 2026 appropriation stands at about 357.1 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this is a bold yet responsible budget designed to sustain stability, build infrastructure, and improve the lives of every Ghanaian. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to budget balances and financing. Right, Honorable Speaker, the overall fiscal balance on a commitment basis is projected at a deficit of 34.4 billion, equivalent to 2.2% of GDP. The corresponding primary balance records a surplus of 23.3 billion Ghana cedis, representative of our GDP. Mr. Speaker, on a cash basis, the overall deficit is projected at 64.2 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to 4% of GDP. The cash deficit of 64.2 billion will be financed from balanced mix of foreign and domestic borrowing sources. The Speaker, foreign finance is projected as a net repayment of 6.6 billion, or 0.4% of GDP. This includes extended disbursement, expected disbursement from the IMF and the World Bank. The Speaker, domestic financing will amount to 71 billion Ghana cedis and will be sourced from long and short-term government securities. The Speaker, the strategy will support domestic market development and ensure their sustainability, as well as maintaining financial sector stability. Right, Honorable Speaker, to 2028 debt management strategy marks a decisive shift to responsible borrowing. With 93.5% of total debt restructured, 20.3 billion in domestic bonds, 13.1 billion in Eurobond, and 5.2 billion in bilateral loans. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is firmly on a sustained path. Mr. Speaker, the strategy focuses on cutting refinancing risk, reducing costs, deepening local markets, and boosting transparency. It revives the bond market, building liquidity buffers, and relies mainly on concessional financing from the IMF, World Bank, and bilateral partners. Mr. Speaker, benchmarks including short-term debt below 15%, treasury bills, and 20% of domestic debt and foreign debt capped at 70%. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the meat. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the meat. The fiscal policy measures, structural reforms, and key policy initiatives. Right, Honorable Speaker, the choices we made in 2025 have restored macroeconomic stability. build trust in our fiscal institutions, and rekindled the hope of our country. The task before us now is to turn that stability into sustained progress and to make growth felt in every home, every community, and every enterprise. The Speaker, the 2026 budget represents the next phase of our national renewal, a practical, forward-looking plan to consolidate the gains, accelerate transformation, and secure prosperity for all Ghanaians. It is the next chapter in building the Ghana we want, a nation that works around the clock, creates opportunities for all, and protect the dignity and dreams of every citizen. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to reaffirm government 3 key priorities for 2026. First, consolidation of macroeconomic stability. Second, we will accelerate economic transformation and job creation. And finally, we will strengthen the security and social sectors for inclusive growth. Mr. Speaker, this budget builds on the stability of 2025 and channels it into action that delivers more jobs, better infrastructure, stronger industries, and better public service. Mr. Speaker, the budget moves Ghana from recovery to transformation and from promises to progress. Right Honorable Speaker, let me now outline the core policy measures, structural reforms, and key policy initiatives that will drive this transformation, each one designed to deliver tangible results, reduce the cost of living, empower businesses, and create decent jobs. First, on the fiscal policy measures and structural reforms. Mr. Speaker, government remains steadfast in the commitment to restore and sustain fiscal stability as the foundation for inclusive growth. Our focus for 2026 and the medium term is to maintain a primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP on commitment basis. We are pursuing a disciplined, data-driven fiscal strategy, one that raises more revenue, spend better, and protect the most vulnerable while safeguarding long-term stability. Mr. Speaker, to achieve our fiscal target for 2026 and the medium term, government will implement a comprehensive set of revenue, expenditure, and structural measures underpinned by transparency and accountability. The Speaker, on the revenue side, government will deepen domestic resource mobilization through the implementation of the medium-term revenue strategy. In addition, government will undertake comprehensive VAT reforms. Will also tighten enforcement of tax arrests and exemptions, ensuring that all eligible entities pay their fair share. Mr. Speaker, these measures are expected to lift non-oil revenue to 15.7% of GDP in 2026 from a projected 15.1% of GDP in 2025. Mr. Speaker, take you to VAT reforms. In 2025 budget and the media fiscal policy review, government made a firm promise to reform Ghana's value-added tax system, to make it fairer, simpler, and more efficient. We pledge to remove distortions, addressing the cascading effect inherent in the VAT system, strengthen compliance, and create a tax regime that supports both businesses and fiscal stability. These distortions have negatively impacted overall welfare, increased the deadweight loss in the economy, and significantly reduced VAT compliance. Today, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to report to this House that we have finally delivered on that promise. Mr. Speaker, after months of detailed analysis and broad consultations with stakeholders, we have completed the design of modernized VAT system fit for Ghana's economic transformation agenda. Mr. Speaker, government is therefore submitting to this House today and for approval, Mr. Speaker, a bold package of VAT reforms that will make our tax system more equitable, transparent, and business-friendly. Right Honorable Speaker, the new VAT reforms will do the following. We will abolish the COVID-19 health recovery levy. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the decoupling of Get Fund and National Health Insurance levies from the VAT tax base. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish VAT on recognizance and prospecting of minerals. Mr. Speaker, we'll reduce the effective VAT rate from 21.9 to 20%. Mr. Speaker, we'll raise the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000 cedis. Mr. Speaker, we will extend VAT zero rating on the supply of local manufacturing textiles to 2028. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, we promise to abolish the COVID-19 levy. With the support of this House, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to say that I'm happy to announce that today, COVID-19 levy is accordingly abolished. Mr. Speaker, by abolishing the COVID-19 levy, government is putting 3.7 billion Ghana cedis in the pockets of individuals and businesses in 2026. Mr. Speaker, these reforms will also reduce the cost of doing business by 5% as a result of subjecting GET Fund and NHIL levies to input-output deductibility for businesses, Mr. Speaker. Altogether, the VAT reforms is expecting to give back nearly 6 billion Ghana cedis to businesses and households. We'll give it to you. Give it to you. 6 billion cedis, Mr. Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, the VAT registration threshold has declined in real terms from 200,000 Ghana cedis in 2015 to approximately 48,000 Ghana cedis in current values. Mr. Speaker, this means that small and micro businesses that were exempted in 2015 from VAT registration are now compelled to register and charge VAT. This has placed an undue burden on small and micro businesses and also increased the cost of administering VAT. Right, Honorable Speaker, the increase in VAT threshold is expected to address this problem and make VAT administration simpler and easier to implement. So, Speaker, VAT on mineral exploration and reconnaissance has led to very little investment in minerals exploration over the past 2 decades. So, Speaker, abolishing VAT on minerals exploration and reconnaissance drive investor confidence, mineral prospecting that degrades our forests and water bodies. So, Speaker, to support the domestic textiles industry, government zero-rated a VAT on supply of local manufactured textiles, which is due to end in December 2025. Government is resolute in supporting the domestic textiles industry, which has demonstrated a capability to expand when given the appropriate fiscal incentives. The Speaker, in line with this and the Ghana textiles and garment policy, government has decided to extend the zero rating to end December 2028, protecting over 2,000 direct jobs. The Speaker, the VAT reforms will make Ghana a more business-friendly economy, create the opportunity for businesses and expansion and to create more jobs. The Speaker, we are not only seeking to change the policy and framework around VAT, we are also deploying electronic and digital solutions to improve VAT administration. Speaker, the measures proposed will include the following: the introduction of digital solutions to tax collection system. The second is to introduce the fiscal electronic devices. The third, Mr. Speaker, the introduction of VAT reward schemes designed to encourage general public to assist with policing VAT revenues by collecting VAT receipt for purchases they make. Mr. Speaker, this will allow taxpayers to use their VAT receipt to benefit from a VAT promotion and reward scheme. Right, Honorable Speaker, these reforms mark a turning point in Ghana's value-added tax administration. They will make compliance easier for businesses, strengthen revenue mobilization, and enhance credibility of our fiscal framework for 2026 and the medium term. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Revenue Authority will roll out a comprehensive public education and awareness campaign to ensure a smooth and transparent implementation of these reforms. Mr. Speaker, it honors our pledge to lighten the load on honest taxpayers whilst building a strong, fairer foundation for national development. Right, Honorable Speaker, beyond the VAT, government will, ahead of 2027, embark on a comprehensive reform of Ghana's key tax laws, including the Income Tax Act, Excise Tax Acts, and the Customs Tax Act, to align them with global best practices, promote equity and competitiveness, simplifying compliance and enhance revenue generation. The Ministry of Finance will commence these reviews in 2026, engage stakeholders and submit a draft to Parliament as part of the 2027 budget. Mr. Speaker, closing revenue leakages at the port. Right, Honorable Speaker, significant leakages at our port continue to undermine revenue mobilization. A recent audit revealed systemic weakness in classification, valuation, and cargo inspection. In 2024 alone, Ghana recorded imports valued at 204 billion Ghana cedis in cost insurance and fleet. Yet, only 85 billion Ghana cedis was taxable, pointing to misclassification and underinvoicing. To tackle this, government will deploy an AI-driven pre-arrival inspection for all cross-border shipment. Mr. Speaker, this technology is programmed to detect undervaluation, flag high-risk goods, and strengthen customs capacity to combat smuggling, improve safety, and protect national security. Right, Honorable Speaker, by integrating automation into port operations, we expect to significantly boost customs revenue, enhance trade efficiency, and close long-standing revenue gaps. Mr. Speaker, on the expenditure front, we will continue to rationalize spending by eliminating low-value programs and streamline earmark funds, freeing space for critical priority projects such as roads, energy, agriculture, and education. Mr. Speaker, every cedi saved will be redirected to projects that create jobs and delivers tangible benefit for Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, to achieve this and support the fiscal sustainability agenda, key expenditure measures for the 2026 fiscal year are as follows. The first will be that we will contain recurrent expenditures by capping non-essential expenditures such as foreign travels, workshops, and vehicle procurement, and elimination of low-impact programs. Mr. Speaker, we will rationalize earmark funds, reinforce commitment authorization, continue to strengthen social protection system by safeguarding allocation to LEAP. Mr. Speaker, we will prioritize capital investment in infrastructure, particularly in the area of big push. Right, Honorable Speaker, on the structural reform side, we will pursue the following. Government will enforce sanctions under Section 96 to 98 of the Public Financial Management Act. The payroll validation exercise led by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with the Controller and Accountant General will also be done. So, Speaker, comprehensive review and audit of the budget preparation and implementation process will be undertaken. We will implement recommendations from the comprehensive arrest and commitment audit by the Auditor General, aided by EY and PwC. Right, Honorable Speaker, will strengthen fiscal discipline and accountability through the operationalization of Revised Fiscal Responsibility Act. Mr. Speaker, we will institutionalize quarterly expenditure reviews. Right, Honorable Speaker, together, these measures will ensure that Ghana lives within its means, mobilize resources fairly, and spend efficiently. Fiscal discipline is not an end in itself. It is the bridge between stability and progress, between policy and real improvement in the lives of our people. Right, Honorable Speaker, the real value of Ghana's procurement threshold has eroded over time, trapping even small projects in slow, expensive approval cycles. The Speaker, the last review was in 2016. Since then, inflation and currency depreciation have made it nearly impossible for district assemblies, for example, to deliver basic community projects efficiently. The Speaker, the government is therefore updating procurement thresholds under the Public Procurement Act to restore their values and match today's market realities. Right, Honorable Speaker, years of inflation and weak oversight have drained real value from public spending. Too often, projects are overpriced, delayed, or abandoned because scrutiny comes only after money is spent. To fix this, government will establish an independent value for money office, a permanent guardian of efficiency, accountability, and fiscal integrity. Speaker, it will certify major projects before approval, monitor delivery, and evaluate results to ensure every city delivers measurable value. The office will enforce cost benchmarks, require public VFM certificate for contracts, and coordinate with the Auditor General, the Public Procurement Authority, and Internal Audit Agency to impose penalties for waste and fraud. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Value for Money Transparency Portal will publish certified projects and citizen feedback in real times. Mr. Speaker, this reform will save up to 3 billion Ghana cedis a year, cut contract inflation, and rebuild public trust. Mr. Speaker, the Value for Money Office is not just another agency. It is Ghana's watchdog for prudent spending and real results. Mr. Speaker, we will be making the following amendment. Right, Honorable Speaker, Ghana's petroleum wealth must work harder for its people. Since 2011, our petroleum funds have earned barely 1% annually. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, it proves that parking them only in low-risk foreign securities limits value creation. To change this, government will designate additional qualifying investment instrument under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. This will allow a portion of the petroleum fund to be invested in commercial viable domestic energy projects, such as gas and power infrastructure, that will drive industrialization and jobs whilst improving long-term returns. Mr. Speaker, this reform follows global best practices. Sovereign funds in Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, and UAE now channel savings into productivity investment that powers growth. Mr. Speaker, Ghana must do same. The new framework will maintain strict safeguards, transparency, and performance audit to ensure every dollar earns real value. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is the mindset shift from passive savings and earnings to productive investment, from idle reserves abroad to energy that powers Ghana's future. Mr. Speaker, that is the way we are going to go. Our oil wealth must not sit idle. It must build, and must build our country. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to public debt management initiatives and reforms in 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, 2026 marks a new phase in Ghana's public debt management, one defined by foresight, discipline, and innovation. After stabilizing our debt trajectory through strong fiscal performance and debt restructuring, government focus now shifts to building resilience. We are putting in place modern tools and systems to ensure that every borrowing decision supports growth, safeguards sustainability, and protect the public purse for future generations. Mr. Speaker, one of the key priorities for 2026 is to strengthen liability management in the domestic debt management market. Mr. Speaker, upon expiration of domestic debt exchange program restrictions in 21st February 2026, government will re-enter the domestic debt market strategically. Mr. Speaker, the immediate objective is to reduce our dependence on short-term treasury instruments, lower rollover risk, and create fiscal space for productive investment. Right, Honorable Speaker, as part of the strategy to re-enter the domestic bond market, government will begin the issuance of domestic infrastructure bonds to fund critical infrastructure in the 2026 budget and beyond. Mr. Speaker, through buybacks, targeted cash management, we will actively smoothen the reprofiling, will smoothen the maturing rate profile of domestic debt and lower interest costs in line with our medium-term debt management strategy. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to key policy initiatives in the 2026 budget across sectors. Right Honorable Speaker, I begin with the energy sector. Energy is the engine of Ghana's transformation. Our goal is to turn power from a constraint into a competitive advantage for every home, factory, and enterprise. Reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy will be the fuel that drives the 24-hour economy, powers industry, lights communities, and create jobs. Through bold reforms, strategic investment, and smarter management, government is building an energy system that not only keeps the light on, but propels inclusive growth across every corner of our country. Mr. Speaker, I now go to gas to power transformation. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana's gas to power strategy is transforming our energy future, shifting from costly light crude to cleaner, locally produced natural gas. This will cut generation costs by about 75%, strengthen energy security, and align with our climate goals. Gas production is rising fast in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the offshore Cape 3 Point partners, OCTP partners, have expanded capacity from 240 to 270 million standard cubic feet per day, while Jubilee and 10 field partners now supply about 130 from 110 million cubic feet per day. Mr. Speaker, within 10 months, we have added more than 50 million standard cubic feet per day of gas. Right Honorable Speaker, new agreement will add another 150 million standard cubic feet daily, ensuring reliable, affordable fuel for power generation. To process this additional gas for power generation, government is fast-tracking the Ghana Gas Processing Plant, GPP2. So, Speaker, this shift means cheaper power, cleaner energy, and a stronger, self-reliant Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, in the medium term, a total of 150 million standard cubic feet of gas per day will be produced by our OCTP and Jubilee partners, enough to generate up to 1,200 megawatts of power, bigger than Akosombo Dam. So, Speaker, beginning 2026, government will commence the construction of 1,200 megawatts state-owned thermal power plant to offtake the additional 1,150 million standard cubic feet of gas per day from OCTP partners and GPP2. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, beginning 2026, government will commence the construction of a 1,200 megawatt state-owned thermal power plant to offtake the additional 150 million standard cubic feet of gas per day from OCTP partners and GPP2. This plant will support the provision of reliable and affordable power and secures Ghana's energy future. Mr. Speaker, the 1,200 megawatts is bigger than what our almighty Akosombo can produce. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana's oil production has witnessed consistent decline over the years, falling from 71.4 million barrels in 2019 to an estimated 36 million barrels in 2025, almost 50 new investment commitment. This includes a $2 billion United States framework agreement for the Jubilee and 10 fields to drill 20 new wells, and a $1.5 billion United States memorandum of intent with OCTP partners to expand operations. Mr. Speaker, this new investor-friendly environment has also drawn the interest of oil and gas majors such as Shell, in our upstream industry. This is expected to bring in new capital, technology, and expertise to increase our oil and gas production. Right, Honorable Speaker, GNPC will commence drilling for oil on the offshore Voltaire Basin in October 2026. The prospects look good to expand Ghana's hydrocarbon production. Right, Honorable Speaker, an upstream regulatory and fiscal review is underway to make Ghana's petroleum regime more effective, transparent, and stable. Mr. Speaker, in 2026, government will roll out Rural Electrification Acceleration and Urban Intensification Initiative to achieve universal access to power. Mr. Speaker, through a faster turnkey model, it will connect every unserved community, boost rural economies, and drive Ghana's 24-hour economy policy. An electricity intensification program will extend connections to all remaining homes and businesses, ensuring that no Ghanaian is left without power. Mr. Speaker, the rollout starts in Volta, Oti, Savannah, and Central regions in 2026, expanding nationwide by 2029 with off-grid solar to remote areas. Mr. Speaker, electricity will be universal, reliable, and life-changing. Right, Honorable Speaker, we will undertake feasibility studies on mini hydroelectronic potentials of the Volta, Red Volta, and other southern river systems. Mr. Speaker, through these coordinated reforms, from reviving the upstream oil and gas sector, securing gas supply, renegotiating IPPs, building a national power plant, expanding rural access, and reforming the operations of ECG, we are securing affordable and reliable energy for individuals and businesses. We are not just keeping the lights on, we are lighting the path for industrial transformation, job creation, and inclusive prosperity. Mr. Speaker, I will take you to agricultural sector initiatives. Right, Honorable Speaker, and distribution happens around the clock. Mr. Speaker, this is how we will feed our ports, create jobs, and make farming profitable. Once again, right, Honorable Speaker, in view of that, we have developed a national policy on integrated oil palm development. So, Speaker, government is launching the National Policy on Integrated Oil Palm Development, a bold plan to turn Ghana's red gold into a powerhouse of jobs, industry, and foreign exchange. Right, Honorable Speaker, despite being one of Africa's pioneers in oil palm, Ghana still imports nearly 200,000 metric tons of crude palm oil yearly, costing over $200 million United States dollars. This policy changes that by expanding plantation, boosting refinery and processing is clear. 100,000 hectares of new plantation, self-sufficiency in palm oil, and global competitiveness, and creating 250,000 jobs in the value chain. To unlock this potential, government will secure a large climate-suitable land banks through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to ensure fair compensation, secure tenure, and full environmental compliance. This marks a new dawn for Ghana's agro-industrial transformation. Mr. Speaker, we are putting together a $500 million equivalent oil palm development financing window. Mr. Speaker, oil palm plantation development requires patience and long-term capital and not short-term loans. To meet these needs, government is establishing $500 million equivalent oil palm development financing window with the World Bank, DFIs, and our development bank. So, Speaker, it will offer long-term, low-interest financing, 5-year grace period, and cover up to 70% of project costs, targeting only sustainable job-creating ventures. Right, Honorable Speaker, Smallholder farmers will be at the center of this policy. Mr. Speaker, through our Outgrower Partnership Scheme, they will access improved seedlings, mechanization, credit, and guarantee offtake at a fair price. Right Honorable Speaker, the Tree Crops Development Authority, Oil Palm Research Institute, OPRI, and the Ghana Exim Bank will provide technical support, research, financing, backed by smallholder support fund for women and youth to enter into this function. So, Speaker, the Tree Crops Development Authority will regulate production,